Hey you guys, I am back. Okay, so when I posted the video 2 days ago about my experience with this Chinese guy, my husband watched it and was cracking up. Like, he was laughing so hard. And then he reminded me, he was like, oh, do you remember when this person assumed blah 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 about Nigeria? And I was like, yeah, I remember that. He reminded me about an experience I had with somebody else, what somebody said about Nigeria, like an assumption about Nigeria, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am going to make a video just to you guys about the crazy things people have said to me about Nigeria, about Africa, asking me questions, the most ridiculous things. So I even made notes because I do not want to forget anything. I mean, there's been a million things people have asked me about Nigeria, but you know, there's so many. Okay, so let's see. So I'm gonna start chronologically. I'm gonna start from when I first moved here until like a couple weeks ago. Okay, so when I first moved here, I met this girl, this American white girl at my church, and she heard my accent. And she was like, oh hey, like, where's that accent from? And I said Nigeria. This was like a week after I had moved to the US. And the truth is, when I moved, I was excited to make friends. I wanted to make American friends, in all honesty. Like, I just felt like, oh my gosh, like, I'm in America, I need to experience it, I need to make American friends. So I was excited that she was interested in me. And so we got talking, we exchanged numbers, and you guys, this girl was always trying to buy me food. Like, and she would ask me questions about like starvation in Nigeria. And she'll ask me questions about like, oh, she'll say stuff like, oh, have you eaten today? Let's go eat somewhere. And she'll want to pay for my food. She was always asking me how poor I am. Like, she'll ask me questions about poverty. And she would always bring me food. Always. Like, she's always bringing me food. She'll always bring food to my sister's house, just tasteless food. And I'm grateful for the food, but come on, it's quite tasteless. And she just always kind of alluded to the fact that I came from poverty and I was hungry and I couldn't afford food. So she would always pay for my food. So I didn't know how to get her off my back. And this is me, like, I had no friends, and I was trying to get rid of the one friend I had. And so what I did was I didn't even do it purposefully, but my mom had seen pictures of me and this girl, and she was like, oh, invite her to Nigeria, we'll pay for you guys' flights and would love to host her. And I was like, really? So my cousin that I just said my cousin about this, and she said, oh, tell her, maybe, tell her so you can prove that you're not like poor in Nigeria, God, why was I even still friends with this girl? I had no friends. Anyway, so I told her that, I texted her actually, I was like, oh my gosh, like, my parents want to host you in Nigeria, you should come, we'll pay for your flights, blah blah blah. Do you know this girl never responded? Till today. Never. I think she realized that I was not, like, she couldn't save me, like, I wasn't the poor African girl that she assumed I was, and she bailed. So yeah, so that was really crazy. That experience was mad. It was crazy. Alright, so I think the following, okay, so this happened like fall of 2010. I started working, I got my working permit and all that around October 2010. So I started working. So I started coming in contact with more Americans. And this one, I worked in the health center at my university. And like, these people would always ask me how I came to the US. I'm sure some of you have heard this question before. Like, oh, how like, oh my gosh, you came from Nigeria, you came from Africa. First of all, they always say Africa. Oh, you came from Africa? Wow. How did you get here? In fact, someone went as far as asking if we had airports. So I'm like, of course we have airports. Like, how would you go to mission trips in Africa? if there are no airports? Tell me. Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me. Okay, that was really annoying. I got that question like every time I met someone new, every time they employed someone new and they met me, they would ask me that question like, oh dang, how did you get here? Like, how do you, and I'm like, how, don't you know other Nigerians? Like, don't you know other people from Africa? Like, how is it so strange to you that we have airports and that I flew in an airplane? Like, okay, moving on, because I'm beginning to sweat, I'm getting frustrated. Towards the end of my PhD, we had a project in a prison, like a public health project in a prison. And this was actually what my husband reminded me about after he watched my video about my date with the Chinese guy. Okay, so he said, so we went to the prison, and like for the project, my husband was with me because he was just always so supportive. He's the best, and he was always wanting to help, always wanting to be involved in my research project. So we went to prison, a girl's prison, a female prison, and so one of the volunteers that came with us, she asked me, she was like, oh, are you Nigerian? I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, cool. So I was like, yeah, it's so cool because actually the prison had a library. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. So I was looking at some books and they had like a Chino Achebe book and, you know, some cool African authors. And I was like, oh my gosh, these were all in my library, my undergrad in ABU. The shock on this girl's face, the shock was amazing. She was like, really? Like, you had libraries in Africa? I swear, like, I can't even make this up. Like, she asked me that, she was shocked. She was like, oh wow, you had libraries in Africa? Like, so you're more shocked that there's a library in Africa than you're shocked that there's a library in prison. So my husband was just like, oh my god, because he knows I'm very defensive of Nigeria and I'm very like, passionate about educating people. And so he was just like rubbing my back. Like, he was like, babe, it's okay, like don't be rude. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. So my response is now like, oh yeah, absolutely. We have libraries, we have massive libraries all over Nigeria and all over Africa. Guys, this girl was so shocked. Like, oh my god, even thinking about it now, I'm just like, oh. Anyway, moving on. She was so shocked. Can you imagine? I think that was one of the ones that really hurt my feelings because I'm like, what do you mean? Why are you shocked? And we have libraries. Okay. Okay. All right, another one that happened. See, I made all these notes here because I don't want to forget anything. I want to tell you guys all this gist. I want to give you guys this gist. Okay, so my student, oh god, this one. My student came after class. So you guys know I teach. After class, my student walked up to me and she's like, oh my gosh, Dr. Muda, you're so pretty, you're so accomplished. And I was like, oh, thanks. And she's like, these are her words. I am not mincing words. She said, wow, you're so accomplished to be African. I swear to you, she said that. You're so accomplished to be African. Okay. Moving on. Like in that moment, I wanted to tell her about all my amazing friends. I wanted to tell her about Chichi, about Lucia, about all these badass women I know, about like so many people that are doing great things around the world. You know, so many Africans. And she told me that, and I told her. So I was like, oh, so my response obviously was like, oh, thank you, but like, I mean, I'm not even anything. Like, there are people doing way greater things. Like, I'm your professor. They're Africans inventing things. And she was like, yeah. I know. I just like, because you're the only one I know, you're the only African I know, and like, that has been this like, how did she put it? Like, I don't want to mince words. I don't want to like paraphrase to make it sound worse or better. But she said something to the effect of like of all the Africans I know, you're the one like you're doing well, you know, like you're doing much better than all the Africans. I don't know. I was just like, okay. And you know, those kind of things, I felt like she was actually genuine in a sense. Like she came from a very small town in Texas and she just didn't know any better. You know, that's like, I want to give her the benefit of doubt. Obviously, she shouldn't be saying stuff like that because that's quite racist. But I know her personally and I I just waved it and I was just like, okay, well, thanks. Her name starts with a C. I almost said it, but I don't want to put anyone in danger. But I was so hurt by that. But you know, that's what we face. Okay, another one. I made a friend. You guys know, okay, here's one thing about me. Because I'm in America, I really want to I like to make American friends. I like to interact with other people. I don't want all my friends to be Nigerian, or all my friends to be black, or all my friends to be African. Like, I don't want that. I want to be exposed to other cultures and other people. But in the same vein of trying to be exposed, then I expose myself to racist things, and I expose myself to offensive statements like this one. I'm even gonna read it for you because I don't want to mince words. How did you cope with no electricity and clean water in Nigeria? Yep. Someone asked me that, and I was like, oh God, what do I say? And you know, in those situations, like, you want to be civil, you want to be kind, you want to be educated, you want to use that opportunity to always educate ignorant people like that. So I was like, oh, we have electricity, we have power, but not constantly, because that's the truth. I didn't want to lie, because you guys know. I was like, yeah, we have power, we have electricity. It's not constant, but we definitely have power, and we have water. And at least growing up, we had a generator, we had a borehole that pumped water into the house. So I always had flowing water. So anyway, someone asked me that, guys. Someone definitely did ask me that. And I've never forgotten that question, because I just felt like, wow, that was so ignorant. So ignorant. Anyway. Okay, so somebody told me this. And this was actually a close friend of mine at the time. And it hurt me so bad. Like, I couldn't believe that she actually said that, you know. She's African, and this is not to cause some kind of ethnic war between African American girls and African girls, whatever. No. But she said that, she was like, this is a friend of mine, guys, friend of mine. She said, African American girls are prettier than African girls. And I was like, really? Why would you say that? And she's African American and I'm African, and we're close friends during my master's. And she goes, oh, because they're more light skinned than African girls. Like, she said they're more light skinned. Actually, right here. They're more light skinned, and their hair is not as coarse as African girls. So all she was saying was they look closer to white than, I don't even know. Okay, this hurt me so bad. And this was a girl that I at some point called one of my best friends, and she said that to me. She said that. Yeah, so can you imagine? Like, why would you even say that? Like, look at all the gorgeous dark-skinned girls with kinky hair. I don't even want to point the obvious. I don't want to point the obvious, Lupita, or there's so many. Think about the girls in the village that nobody even knows, that are stunning. Dark chocolate skin, kinky hair. I mean, think about that. So I was just like, whatever. I didn't argue with her, but I would never forget that. And every time I think about her, that statement always, we're not friends anymore, but that statement always comes to mind, because I just felt that it was such a hurtful thing to say. But yeah, I'm getting kind of emotional thinking about it, because another black girl would say something like that. I mean, yeah, sad. Okay, and then obviously, the one where my neighbor says, the one on Twitter, I posted this on Twitter, my neighbor's cat will come into my yard, and I was like, why is your cat always in my yard? Like, it was kind of annoying. And she goes, well, you're African, you live with lions, like you deal with lions, so why would you be scared of a cat? Like a cat? What is a cat? When they're lions. Like, she said it like I had lions in my backyard, and I was just like scared of cats. Like, why would you be scared of cats? When I pet lions, and I kiss lions. So what is a cat? She said that. God. And she's the nicest neighbor ever, but just very ignorant about like Africa. And you know, I was so hurt by that, and I told Chichi, and Chichi was like, well, Chichi is my friend. If you don't know my channel, go back to some videos, you see Chichi is one of my best friends. I love her to death. And she was like, and you always need to educate. Like, you can't your emotions should take over like when something like that happens. You immediately should educate her. But at that point, I just felt so sad. I was like, wow, so you think I have lions in my backyard? Or like, what are you trying to say, ma'am? But she's like, she kind of apologized, and she's way nicer. She's really, honestly, the kindest person. Like, I love her. I love her kids. I love them so much. Just ignorance again. But yeah. So yeah. And then the one I told you guys about with the Chinese guy, I went on a date with, that said there are two types of skinny. There's African skinny, and then there's cute skinny. The African skinny is the hungry looking skinny person. And the cute skinny is like whatever else he meant by that. What a loser. What a loser. Only a loser would say something like that. And an idiot. But yeah, those are some things that people have said to me over my almost 11 years in the US. And there's so many other things that people have said to other Africans. In fact, I took some screenshots, because when I posted my experience with my neighbor and her cat on Twitter, and I got a lot of responses that people had experienced, like people had been told, like people in the diaspora, people in England and UK. And so I took some screenshots because I wanted to read some of this to you guys, because I thought they were so funny. So this one says, I swear, you know what, I'm gonna put this up because I can't make this up. This one says, my white friend's dad said the reason Africans excel in athletics is because they run from wild animals. Their views about Africa is ridiculous. This is what somebody tweeted me. Because we're athletic because we're used to running from wild animals. Another person said, one asked my cousin how they answer a phone in Africa, and my cousin told him, we climb a tree. Hold on. My cousin told him we climb a tree and turn our head downward. I swear, I can't make this up. Because like, what are you gonna, you have to be sarcastic. So his cousin, because they asked, so I'm gonna read this again because I feel like I was laughing. It says, one asked my cousin how they answer phone in Africa, and my cousin told him we climb a tree and turn our heads downward, and that's it. So you just climb a tree and turn your head downwards, and you answer your phone. Oh, I thought that was so funny. Let me look for more. Oh my god, there's so many people. Says, Americans can be so extra. An old American engineer once told me when he was coming to Africa in the 70s, he had images of topless girls with leaves around their waist, and damn, he was disappointed. Oh man, it's so funny. My elder brother, another tweet I got. My elder brother was visiting from Austria, and one of his in-laws there, a white man, brought a letter to him and said, please help me give this to my friend in Zimbabwe. Alright, so he was so somebody was going to Nigeria, and his in-law, somebody told him to give, so somebody was traveling from Austria to Nigeria, and they gave him a letter, like a package to take to Zimbabwe, to give somebody in Zimbabwe. Like, no idea. That's crazy. That's so crazy. An Armenian in Moscow seriously asked if there are televisions in Africa. He said, it remains small, make a bosom slap. God. Okay, another one says, a white guy asked me on Twitter if we had internet in Africa. I was like, how the hell do you think I tweet? Good answer. Good answer. Oh, I love that. Great answer. Okay, so those are just like one of like hundreds and hundreds of tweets I got about people's experiences in the diaspora, you know, and I just think, oh man, I just think it's so sad. I just think we need to I just think that if you are African outside of Nigeria and you experience these kind of things, you absolutely need to educate. Like, your first response should not, I know it's sad and it gets emotional, even me, I get emotional, but I think that our first response should be to educate. I know there's the there's the tendency to want to be sarcastic because it's so annoying, I know, but let us educate. Let us educate people, because a lot of these statements honestly are just out of ignorance. more than anything else. Just ignorant people making ignorant statements. So yeah, I hope you guys had a good laugh, or if you're angry, I'm angry with you. If you're laughing, I'm laughing with you. I don't know, whatever emotion you're feeling right now, I'm with you. Alright, see you in my next video. Bye-bye. Bye.